I would like to share with you the study that I carried out on an overview of the world current and future assessment of COVID-19 trajectory and impact. The trajectory of novel COVID-19 pandemic went through 3 critical stages. As I see it, stage 1, that I call deceptive stage, followed by stage 2, which depends on stage 1, that I call the exponential growth stage, and finally stage 3, which is the containment stage. As you can see, the curve changes direction, which means the slope is not constant. Now the slope is the tangible line or the gradient of a line, which is a number that describes both the direction and the steepness of the line. I assume that the data that I got was accurate and the current trajectory continues as it is now. So this is what the study was based on. I investigated the total infected cases. I did not look at the recovered or even the active cases. Then I selected a few countries from the developed part of the world and divided them into 2 groups based on their containment. Group A, that includes China, South Korea, and Japan, and Group B, that includes USA, Italy, and Spain. And then I performed a regression to fit both groups' trajectories. I'll start with Group A. As you can see, stage 1, 2, 3 present and their trajectory, which means that they contain the outbreak. But what's interesting and I'd like to focus on is that stage 1 was very short, which implies that they took serious measures right away. They took it seriously. And that resulted in a mild stage 2 trajectory, which means that stage 2 was not very steep. And this led to a containment in a very short time, about 20 days. The model that fitted such behavior is the second-degree polynomial with a 94% accuracy. Let's move on to talk about Group B trajectory. They have only 2 stages. They haven't really reached the containment stage yet. So they're still struggling with stage 2. But if you look at stage 1, the deceptive stage, you can see that it took really long time for them to realize that it is serious and to act upon it. And that really made stage 2 really worse and very severe. And the model that fitted such behavior is the exponential growth with the B coefficients, with the X coefficients, which is B, that determines the severity of stage 2, which is the exponential behavior. USA has the highest X coefficient with 0.27. And this suggests that USA will record higher number than the other 2 countries, Spain and Italy, and the total cases, by the way. So by April 15th, this model would predict that Italy will have a total of 500,000 infected cases, Spain 900,000, and USA multi-million cases. With the total death, I hope not, 60,000 in the case of Italy, Spain 80,000, and 200,000 for USA. So in the case of Kuwait, you can see the coefficient of X, which is B, is very small, which means that the steepness of the second stage is very mild, and we wouldn't expect high numbers of cases per day in comparison with other countries. So by April 15th, we would expect to have about 600 infected cases. The world is expected to have 4 million infected cases by April 15th and 200,000 in total death. So the message that I would like you to take back home is that we would like to push down this solid line following the dotted arrow, which means that the enormous numbers that are recorded per day will be spread over a longer period of time. And this will put less pressure on the healthcare system, enabling the healthcare system to absorb such enormous number instead of having it at one go, or very short time. Thanks for tuning in.